He's so pathetic.
Uh-huh.
It's just that it has no. But this is what he does his whole life. It really is kind of infuriating. How much he's gotten away with. That he just files stupid lawsuits, delays. Right?
Well,
Yep.
I mean, it works when you're filing a lawsuit against, say, a contractor that doesn't have the money that you have. But now he's filing lawsuits against the government, which has money to compete with him.
Right. Exactly.
So.
Yes, he's filed a lawsuit against the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th insurrection in an attempt to block lawmakers from accessing archived presidential documents. Jody, you're the only one here with a law and order degree. Do you feel like there's anything in those documents that he perhaps, for some reason, doesn't want us to see?
I'm thinking perhaps there might be a problem in some of those documents.
Well, they're saying that apparently the National Archive sent a copy of the documents to him to review.
Right.
And you know he saw something that made his sphincter snap.
Yeah.
You think he did another duty in his adult diaper?
He did.
That Noel Castro
Oh, that's without question.
told us about.
With all of his terrible new lawyers because he can't afford good ones.
That's the other thing.
He did a little duty in his pants. His diaper, pardon me.
He crapped
Noel
his
Castro
pants.
corrected that.
He crapped his pants.
Yeah.
Oops, he crapped his pants. Those are the name of his diapers.
Yeah, it's probably from years of cheating on his wives. Like, do you have a sound of a cell phone going off? Just do you think like he had? And you play my wife.
Okay. Hello?
No, you're supposed to say, who's that just texted you?
Who's that just texted me?
Nothing, nobody, and you don't need to see it. I'm claiming executive privilege over this phone. There's nothing in here you need to see.
Money. Who's that?
Nobody. I just said I've claimed executive Spider-Man privilege over this phone.
Spider-Man privilege?
I don't know. He's just making up at this point
Okay.
anyway. He doesn't have. He's a private citizen. Yeah. He doesn't have executive privilege.
No.
Joe Biden does, bitch, and he said no.
Yeah.
He's not used to anyone telling him
No.
no. That's what's
Exactly.
fantastic. I have it. I'm still the president. Look at all these people that say I'm still the president.
But in his mind, the election was invalid, and he is still the president, and he's supposed to be reinstated, so his executive privilege should be reinstated as well.
I am married to Jennifer Garner, as we know.
Oh, of course you are.
I mean, how long ago, Jody, did we reach take away Grampy's keys? Yes, you are Tsar of Russia. Okay, give us the right.
We need to give him a fake phone. We needed to do that while he was in the White House, was to just give him a fake phone.
A jitterbug with no battery.
Exactly.
The former president called the committee's probe into January 6th an illegal fishing expedition.
No.
Computer says no.
Not illegal in any way.
And not a fishing expedition because they
know.
They
caught a
they're
whopper.
very clear with what they're looking for.
Give him some credit. He didn't say witch hunt.
Okay.
What's something else that's like that? Like witch hunt. I feel like I might have used witch hunt too many times. Fishing
People go
expedition.
fishing?
On October 8th, Trump told U.S. archivist, whoever, that he was formally asserting executive privilege over 47 documents, arguing that the committee's request was too broad and violated other privileges. He tried to cite executive privilege again in his lawsuit,
No.
despite being
He's not the
civilian.
executive.
And 47 documents, that's a very specific.
It's like those pictures you always post at the gym of you in the Captain America. Like, you get you're not really Captain America, right? I mean, there's a lot of pictures of you dressed
I
as...
think he really does think he's Captain America.
do you exert executive privilege over the
Do you
leg
notice
press?
he wears glasses and then we see him without his glasses and he looks completely
I know.
different?
Didn't he
So,
look
hi.
hot yesterday? I feel like you know what? Mommy needs to put a lot of likes on both of your Instagram posts because you both have super hot gym
You
photos.
never like our things.
I do. I did yesterday. Look, I liked both of you. Both of your gym pictures were right after one another. I'm like, look how handsome and romantic both my little boys are.
But see, he wears glasses as Travis Bone, and then the glasses come off, and he's Captain America.
Steve Sterling or whatever.
They're
Steve
both on my
Rogers.
refrigerator. They're both on my refrigerator with a little gold star.
No, they're
thing.
not.
These are cute gym pictures.
you have nothing on your fridge.
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
I only post pictures of your dogs.
I just feel like I haven't tapped into gay Instagram or gay Twitter, so...
Do you say,
That's what
I,
you
as
gotta do.
Captain America, hereby claim this leg press in the name of America? Do you,
No, I just say, I hope that I look like Captain America someday, so this is my inspiration.
and someone just goes, whatever, nerd, and they just flick him away.
Yeah.
Pink, pink. Somebody like seven times the size of
He
Chris
also parts his
just
hair
goes,
on the other side when he's Captain America.
Right.
Oh, that's
Jody.
tricky.
I'm sorry.
Or just
Clark
reverse
Kent
the
and I
angle.
had a thing. It was a thing.
Oh, hi, Bob.
Hi. Bannon looks like Wayne Knight from Jurassic Park when Wayne Knight in Jurassic Park has that green spooge all over his face. And he's screaming.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, and that is
sure.
not the same person as the guy that says clever girl that gets eaten by the velociraptor. I know it's a different person. Don't start Twitter. Okay, hi, Bob.
No. Hi, yeah. Wayne Knight gets attacked by that one dinosaur that spits the goo at him. Yeah,
yes.
And then it's acid. It's like acidic goo. And that's exactly what has happened to Steve Bannon. At some point, he was in Costa Rica. There was a little tiny dinosaur that spit green goo at his face, and now we have the Steve Bannon we know and love, right? That beautiful, beautiful face that wasn't at all hit by an acid-spitting dinosaur at some point.
Oh, Bob. Anyway, well, you also struck as I was by the solemnity and also alacrity and also gravitas of this January 6th committee.
I know. See, the Stephanie Miller Show, you can get all the laughs, all the politics, and all the SAT words.
The vocab words, yes.
Thank you, kids. Yeah. Uh-huh. But, you made some good points on Twitter because we all get impatient with whatever it is. But you just said one more myth to erase from your to-do list. Congress doesn't summarily toss non-compliant witnesses in jail for contempt anymore. It hasn't happened since Teapot Dome, and it's unlikely to return within the next week for Bannon and others. If you're unhappy with the House's rules for referring criminal contempt charges, blaming the Democrats for it is misleading and unreasonable. This is a process used by both parties for decades now. It's not exclusively a Democratic thing. And by the way, House Dems have referred criminal contempt charges to DOJ twice as many times as Republicans over at least the past 20 years. Be angry, be urgent, but be reasonable about who your enemy is, and it's not the House Democrats. Thank you, Bob Cesca, for your moral clarity
and alacrity.
And your alacrity in pointing that out on Twitter. But it's but I get it. That's what I was saying. Oh, I think it was our Michael from Oakland, who I know I get annoyed with him sometimes. He's a good pro bono lawyer, but it's just the rush to go Democrats or pussies. Right? That's what, I think you were talking about Rick Wilson talking about that. It's just like, they don't. It's just, I understand we keep saying I wish they could fight more like our velociraptor Republican Liz Cheney. But you're right. There are a certain set of rules, and Democrats are still the good guys. Democrats are still the ones on the side of truth, justice, and the American way, right?
Yeah, I mean, the real reason...
I said that because you're wearing your Superman T-shirt.
I know. Dun, da, da, da.
Although they're changing the truth, justice, and American way part.
Though.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, yes, I know. You got to keep up with the latest right-wing red hat outrage.
Yeah, Fox News is all super upset about it.
Fired up by Superman again. Oh, it's like two Superman things in a row hitting into the outrage machine on
Plus you said,
Fox
oh
News
no, a gay Joker and a black Catwoman. Ben Shapiro's going to be so pissed.
Yeah.
Anyway, go ahead, Bob. Your point.
Going back to the system. I mean, the Democrats and how to handle this process of holding these people to account for the insurrection. The problem is the system. The system is not equipped to deal with the rise of these fascist idiocrats who have no relationship whatsoever to conveying the truth. It's like this entire disinformation machine that it starts there. It starts with Roger Ailes and then expands into Donald Trump, expands into Steve Bannon and his philosophy of managing the decline of the United States. All these people believe the United States is rapidly failing, and they want to be in that last musical chairs seat before it actually does. I mean, that's the entire goal. That's what Steve Bannon advises Donald Trump about. You're the guy to manage the decline. In fact, when Steve Bannon first met with Donald Trump to try to convince him to run for president, that was the talking point. Yeah, Donald Trump, you can manage the decline of the United States.
Yeah.
Hooray. And then you'll be the last one standing when the form of government that we have falls apart. And then you can be the monarch. You can be the dictator. You can run the show however you want to run the show.
Well, that's what I was saying.
You can basically take over the United States.
That's what I was saying about it's not just this contempt of Congress. It's about blowing up the whole system. About, they don't play by any rules. You talked a lot, Bob, about Trump-proofing the presidency. Well, this is exactly what we're running up to against. Even past his presidency is they don't play by any rules. We've never encountered anything like it in our body politic. They are lawless. They are shameless. They are completely corrupt. And, the way these things have always been resolved in the past is because you had people with some sense of law and order and just, our democracy, but they have none.
Yeah, yeah. There was a water's edge with Richard Nixon, as awful as he was.
Right.
There was a limit to how far he would go. I don't think this current crop of red hats, guided by Donald Trump, I don't think they have any sense of what the limit is. I think what they want to do is basically, it sounds really, really sinister, like they're twirling their mustaches, but it's true. They want world domination. This is Vladimir Putin's plan. I mean, Vladimir Putin wants to have, as we've learned over the years through great pain and suffering, is that Vladimir Putin wants to install autocracies around the world. So this way, everything is tenderized for him to continue to influence, voters and to scramble the playing board.
Right.
And this gives Vladimir Putin, who's got a very weak hand as far as economy and so on, his influence around the world, this gives him a greater foothold. And so by Donald Trump rising to power here and still having an influence over half of our politics, Vladimir Putin still has that foothold in the United States. And that makes us vulnerable.
Ma chérie,
Ooh, en français. Merci.
Wow. Okay.
Hey, you know the great Betty Davis story from Boston, right?
No.
Oh yeah. First of all, she was born in Lowell, which is Carolina.
Yeah.
But when she was very young, when she was like in her early 20s, she posed nude for a local sculptor for a series on like. She was, I think, spring. He was doing one of these nudes for every season, and they put her statue up in a park, but it was too close to a school, so the local blue-nosed parents went crazy, and had it removed, and it was missing for years. She kept telling people this story about how she had posed for a sculptor in Boston when she was really young. Nobody could find the statue. Everybody thought she was going dingy, but it turned out it had been bought by an art collector out in Beverly. So in like the early 1980s, they actually found the statue finally.
Wow. Oh, that's awesome.
And as long as we're doing celebrity encounters, I would like to say my best celebrity encounter was the fact that Lady Bird Johnson kissed me on the cheek once.
Oh, that's cool.
Very nice, Charlie.
She didn't goose you, though.
LBJ.
Stephanie still resents the Johnsons for keeping her from living at the Naval Observatory.
I do. That's right. I could have lived at the Naval Observatory.
And she didn't goose you like her husband would.
Well, LBJ grabbed my mom's ass.
Yeah.
So there.
Yeah. No, they were having a tribute to my George Reedy, my mentor in J School, who was Johnson's press secretary, at the National Press Club in Washington. And my wife and I went down, and I was introduced by one of George's friends to Lady Bird, and she pecked me right there.
Oh,
man, what a sweet lady! And she asked me to put up with that guy, but much as I love Lyndon's the man was not easy. No.
This has been what's stuck in my craw that lately I've been talking about it the last couple of days, Charlie. I don't know if you heard. It's just this, like, why doesn't Joe Biden get in the room and LBJ, blah, blah, blah. Charlie, you're a historian. What would the majorities LBJ had? I mean,
I think he had was it a 300 seat or was that FDR? I forget.
Yeah, they both had huge
the two
majorities,
of them had, and they both had these massive congressional majorities, and they still had trouble.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, it was the Democrats who torpedoed FDR's court packing plan. Mm-hmm. LBJ, it took them the better part of a year to get the Civil Rights Bill passed.
Yeah.
I mean, and this was with a Republican Party that was not insane.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, in FDR's case, it was a Republican Party that was completely, owned by the money power. Yeah. But as far as Lyndon goes, he had Paul Douglas, he had Republicans, who made sense, like your old man.
Yeah. That's what I said. But my dad actually did.
Not a crazy, group of savage beasts.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's what I said. My dad actually did work across the aisle and have friends on both sides of the aisle. They don't do that anymore. And like we were saying about, they should just get rid of the debt limit because you're negotiating with terrorists every time with Republicans. They don't govern. They're not a governing party anymore, Charlie.
Oh no, they have absolute, unless they're in charge.
Right.
They have absolutely no concept of public service anymore. They don't know why they're elected.
Yeah. Charlie, this is why your piece is so great, and I've been saying this over and over again. It's, forget getting a room. Oh, LBJ, you said the New York Times shows how to hold Joe Manchin accountable for his obstructionism. No both sides or horse race, just lay out the real-world stakes for Joe Manchin's constituents. Thank you. Not only, does the media not cover what's in the bill and just the cost and the horse race and who's against it, but I'm glad more and more people are starting to talk about how much money he gets from,
not just that, but that piece in the New York Times was also about what happens to West Virginia if this doesn't pass.
Thank you. It's what
basically it floats away.
Is it the second poorest state? It's the second poorest state, isn't it? After Mississippi, I believe.
Think so. Yeah. I think by most measures, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you said, right, Mr. Manchin has rejected any plan to move the country away from fossil fuels because he said it would harm West Virginia, a top producer of coal and gas. Mr. Manchin's own finances are tied to coal. He founded a family coal brokerage that paid him $500,000 in dividends last year. And there we are, you say, actual reporting illustrating the actual situation on the ground that the administration is trying to ameliorate, as well as Manchin's intractability and devotion to a dying energy source that's helped make him rich. I mean, you look at how much money cinema just got from Big Pharma, and you go, oh, that's weird. Why is she the one person that's against what 90% of the American people want, negotiating lower drug prices, right?
Right. I mean, that's the situation Biden finds himself in. Now, I'm not, I'm with Eric Bollert from yesterday, by the way. This endless drumbeat of how everything that happens, the Biden presidency is hanging by a thread.
Right.
I
said if you watch Meet the Press, the midterms are over. We've lost.
I believe in my heart that there are people pretending to be reporters in Washington who want Trump back.
Yeah.
And not just conservatives.
Right.
Yeah. Well, as you write, there's this thing called the real world. And in the real world, there are things called consequences. And in the best of all possible worlds, the media brings to the people living in the real world enough information to enforce real world consequences on their elected representatives. I mean, there are a lot of old people that take prescription drugs in Arizona. I mean,
right.
Yeah, go talk to them about how they feel about Kyrsten Sinema blocking that provision.
Go talk to them and ask them if they know about the fact, if they know that negotiating drug prices for Medicare is in the bill. I guarantee you they don't know that.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, there may be some politically aware, old folks that do, but I guarantee you they don't, because they haven't heard about it. All they've heard about it is $3.5 million and $1 billion, and Joe Manchin is the man holding the line against the deficit or whatever, and
Well, also, Axios said Manchin told the White House the child tax credit must include a firm work requirement and family income cap in the $60,000 range. These demands would dramatically weaken one of Biden's signature programs. And you just said someone tackle this idiot before he proposes the Ryan budget from 2009.
No kidding.
I mean, what does that do with families with grandparents taking care of kids? I mean, for instance.
Right. And there's a lot more of that now because, some parents have died of the completely preventable pandemic we're having.
I look at how it would affect me personally, because when Debbie Boone can't bicycle with me 9 times out of 10 because she's doing some grandparent duty because she is an incredibly good grandmother and mother, and it's annoying.
Wow.
Caretaker.
Yes, but a lot of people caretake, right, for their grandkids. That's just one component of this.
Jamie's trying to check and see if you're okay.
She always does.
I'm fine. She wants a biscuit. But no, it's like everybody says, Charlie, right? Is there a work requirement for the trust fund babies that get their huge tax cuts? It's just, okay.
I'd like to point out also that the Congress just voted the Pentagon another $10 billion that they didn't even ask for.
That they didn't want. And we have no money for this? We have no money, right?
Yeah.
I can't. All right. By the way, you found the same Capitol rioter that we did about the defendant who texted his aunt to report fighting off 4 or 5 cops, to which his aunt said awesomeness, and you're like, texted his aunt. These people are morons.
Yeah.
Hi, Glenn.
Good morning, staff.
I do. I love everything you say in every form. On TV, on Twitter. I'm like, yes.
On YouTube.
Yes. Oh, he's okay. Well, you're obviously Ted Lieu reacting the same way you were to the DOJ spokesperson saying DOJ will make its own independent decisions in all prosecutions based solely on the facts and the law, period, full stop. And you said if DOJ will bring charges based only on the facts and the law, then please explain to we the people why you failed to charge Donald Trump with the several felony obstruction of justice crimes fully and meticulously documented in Volume 2 of the Mueller report. Yes. Thank you. If you're going on the facts and the law, I don't know how either that or you trying to overthrow the government of the United States doesn't qualify as prosecutable.
And here's my concern, Steph. By declining to indict Donald Trump for the many crimes that we've all seen him commit, we know he committed. There's no question about it. By declining to do it, the whole thing feels political. And this is what bothers me to my core. And if it's not political, here's what you're declining to prosecute Donald Trump for his many crimes. He no longer enjoys the shield of the presidency protecting him against criminal prosecution. If they would just be a little transparent with us and tell us why they are not prosecuting him at this moment, we deserve to know, because guess what? Every time you violate a law of the United States, you know who the victims are in a very real sense? We, the people. And we have a right to know. We deserve to know. So they need to start talking with us about what they're doing, what they're not doing, and why. I'm not asking them to divulge, anything that would compromise ongoing investigations. But right now, there is no respect coming from the Department of Justice to we, the people. And we're not going to take it forever.
Yeah. Well, yeah. First of all, Chairman Schiff signaled the House Select Committee could potentially subpoena Trump and Pence. Mm-hmm. He said no one is off the table.
And we're only going after the folks who took the orders to attack the Capitol. The folks who took the orders to go down there and fight like hell, to go down there, kick ass and take names. If you don't fight like hell, you won't have a country anymore. Now, get down there and stop what's going on in the U.S. Capitol. Those are quotes, Steph, right? That is textbook inciting a riot. So that's why we need to know from the Department of Justice why you are declining, at least thus far, to indict and prosecute crimes we've all seen. This is no different than if my neighbor breaks in and steals my TV, or God forbid, kills a family member, and the law enforcement apparatus says, we're not going to do anything with that. The people can't accept that, and we shouldn't be made to accept that. We need to start hearing from DOJ.
It's like someone would say to you, "Oh, Glenn, that was in the past that someone broke in and killed your family." I've never understood this, Glenn. It's like all crimes in the past, right? It's like, oh, well, we need to move on now. That was in the past. It's like, okay. I mean, as you said on Twitter, let's be clear. Trump should absolutely be indicted in Georgia for his election crimes and in New York for his financial crimes. But he violated the laws of the United States and victimized the American people. Trump is a federal problem and requires a federal solution equaling a federal indictment. Here. What is your feeling this morning on, is that going to happen? Or what is happening at DOJ right now as it regards? I mean, obviously you have a lot of tweets on Bannon in particular because he's the first and most egregious and has been referred for criminal contempt.
Yeah, I will never give up hope. I still have an expectation that multiple jurisdictions will indict Donald Trump. And Steph, in part, it's not because I'm Pollyanna, but because I can't conceive of a country that does not hold a criminal former president accountable for trying to bring an end to our democracy. I can't conceive of living in that country. We all know we have a lot of problems here, and we fight against them every day. But I can't envision one of our most significant problems being we will allow the ruling class to bring an end to our democracy. I'm not going to give up hope. I'm not going to give up the ghost on that front.
Yeah, well, you said that. Can you imagine if we lose our republic? With Congress never having used its lawful power of inherent contempt to enforce its subpoenas, there's no shame in fighting for what's right and losing. There's nothing but shame in refusing to fight for what's right and fear of losing. And by the way, you reviewed, for people that forget, Steve Bannon. You said Steve Bannon steals from Trump's base. Bannon is indicted. Trump pardons him. We don't know if they split the money Bannon stole from Trump supporters or what. Trump then needs a favor, though. Tells Bannon not to testify / incriminate him before Congress. Bannon obliges. Conspiracy complete. I mean, that's what people forget. It's like, yeah, what did he get pardoned for, and how? I mean, it's every single element of it is corrupt, right?
And this is what's so important about what's about to happen to Steve Bannon. And I hope everybody will pay attention to this, because when the House votes to hold Bannon in contempt tomorrow, and I know people were outraged that they didn't do it a minute after he failed to appear, but what has been explained to me, I'm not an expert in congressional procedure, is they needed to set this vote for 3 days out in the future,
yes.
Blah, blah, blah. Okay, because that's what, it's the rules of Congress that should be more important than the urgency of protecting our democracy. Thank you very much. So in any event, here's what's going to happen. They're going to vote him in contempt. They're going to refer to the appropriate U.S. attorney. That's the language in the federal statute. And then here, I'm going to read right from the law. It says, once the U.S. attorney in D.C. gets this criminal contempt referral, the U.S. attorney shall, not may, not might, shall present the matter to the grand jury for its action. Here's what that looks like. I was in grand juries for thousands of hours as a federal prosecutor. When we investigate a crime like contempt of Congress, we don't just investigate narrowly, right? We don't just say, oh, ladies and gentlemen of the grand jury, Steve Bannon failed to appear. He had a lawfully issued congressional subpoena. He has no legal defense or excuse. Please return an indictment against him. We investigate broadly. And what we always investigate with every crime is the motive. The motive for Steve Bannon to suffer criminal contempt rather than testify. You just read the tweet, Steph, that lays out the motive. One of the motives, Donald Trump pardoned him, kept him out of jail, let him keep the stolen money that he grifted from Trump's base. How is that not motive for Donald Trump to now say, hey, Steve, I did you a solid. I need a favor, though. Do not appear before Congress and incriminate me. This is the same gosh darn thing that Donald Trump and Roger Stone cooked up together. Roger Stone lied to Congress because, according to Judge Amy Berman Jackson, he was covering up for Donald Trump, and then Trump pardoned him. Steph, this is conspiracy after conspiracy after conspiracy.
Yeah, you laid out the Bannon and Trump, and then just for, again, Glenn, so people hear this, because everybody forgets they're all criminals. Everybody forgets which crime is which. You said we won't know until, someone asked you, are all of Trump's pardons actually legal? You said we won't know till one's challenged in court, but the Roger Stone pardon was part of an ongoing conspiracy. As Judge A.B. Jackson said, Stone covered up for Trump, so a court likely would invalidate if only we could find the will to fight in court for the American people. Yeah, the pardon itself was corrupt, and now it's a further criminal conspiracy, right? Whether it's Bannon or Stone.
And the Department of Justice needs to tell us, why are you shielding? Why are you not going after Donald Trump for these obvious crimes? We deserve to know.
Yeah. Yeah, you said if only there was a governmental agency empowered to seek justice on behalf of the American people. That's snark, right, Glenn? Is that snark you are purveying there? I believe you are purveying some snark.
That's a whole New Jersey boatload full of snark.
The Joyzy kind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just but the double standard. You said seems like FBI Director Comey never stopped talking about his investigation of Hillary Clinton for her emails, and it did serious damage to her candidacy. Pollsters would say it was the tipping point. After all the Russian interference and Facebook stuff. Trump is not a candidate at the moment, yet we hear nothing about him being investigated for actual crimes he committed. Yeah, this, sports commentary about 2024 as if this isn't the biggest criminal we've ever encountered in the Oval Office is just, it's mind-bending.
And let me touch on the Hillary Clinton thing for a minute, because I got a lot of pushback, appropriately so, because people are like, well, Glenn, the FBI is not supposed to talk about pending investigations. My point is exactly, those are the norms and traditions. And Comey, the FBI, violated those norms and traditions and tanked Hillary's candidacy because we never stopped hearing about that investigation into Hillary's emails. And then what did we get at the end of the day from Comey? Well, you know what? We're not going to prosecute her, but let me spend some time telling you how negligent she was. Just in case anybody is still contemplating voting for her,
right.
Let me completely tank her. Now, he shouldn't have done that. And now people are like, so the FBI shouldn't be talking about any investigation into Donald Trump now. I said, that's wonderful. Those are our norms and traditions, and we can carry them with us to the end of our democracy.